We're going to start with cultural leadership. And what I mean when I say cultural leadership is this. We're creating this purposeful and intentional culture of equitable access. We're all for equity for all of our students. Equitable access to hardware, to books, to software, to equipment, to space, so that students can have access to everything that we want them to have access to. This is a culture where student interests drive curricular demands. So we're focusing on our students' interests, their interests this year, not their interests a couple of years ago. When we say we provide equitable access to information and resources, we don't mean in any way possible by inundating our students with so much information and resources that they don't know where to turn. But we need to keep our collections sharp through purposeful curation and thoughtful weeding. And an out-of-date collection, whether it's books, equipment, or links on a website, is a symbol of an out-of-date library program. Today's learners and teachers are impatient, and they expect their resources on demand. And one way we can make our collections more instantly available to students is to consider rearranging our print collections and customizing our print collections to support our current curriculum and student interests. This is the example that I use a lot, is that at my high school, a lot of students would come in and they were doing decades projects for their history classes. So instead, we just put all of the books for that project that we knew kids wanted every day. We just put them together on one shelf and we called it Decades, 1920s. So our spine label says Decades, 1920s, and the sign above it just says Decades. One thing we can do to be cultural leaders, in addition to connecting our users through the print collection, is to start thinking about this idea of transliteracy, to view things in more than one way. We curated resources for our students to use. So now they have access to, here's the painting of the death of Ophelia. Maybe they'll understand that a little more. They start understanding the connections between The Lion King and Hamlet, and Star Wars and Hamlet, and seeing what a cultural impact this one book that they're reading, this one play that they're reading, has had on the entire storytelling universe. We include connections to software tools where they can analyze the text. And we put them all, I use a tool called LibGuides to curate resources at my school. We pay for it, but it's a great way to organize information for their students. And then we did this. So on our Shakespeare shelf, we added a QR code so that when our students came running in and said, I forgot my copy of Hamlet at home, can I borrow yours? They could grab a copy of that, but they could also take their device and scan that QR code, or open up Snapchat and snap that QR code. And now they have access to the ebook, to all the videos about the Globe Theater, to all the extra information that connects them to the text a little bit more. Cultural leadership also means we send this message out that the library represents everything that the school values. What's important to the school? What's important to the students at our school and the teachers? We can host events like open mic night, or maybe Friday, the last Friday of the month during lunch, we set up an open mic and invite students to come and participate. We started doing poetry slams. We did these on Friday nights. You can open a student-run writing center or a tech lab. So now students are the experts in the library. Some school libraries are starting TED Ed clubs, where students are supported in discovering, exploring, and presenting information, but in short little snippets, or a genius hour, which is a movement that allows students to explore their own passions, their interests. It encourages creativity, all these wonderful things, and it provides a student's choice. They get to choose what they learn during 1 hour each week. So you could promote this, maybe just with one grade, maybe with one class, 1 hour a week. Our students and teachers need us to create this culture of leadership, to promote equity for all of our students, to serve as cultural, collaborative, and visionary leaders.